Good evening. My name is Stephen Moscone, and I'm the Vice President of Advisory Services. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to our webinar this evening entitled AI in Dentistry, Hopes, Fears, and Predictions. Let's have a quick look at the agenda, and then I will introduce our first speaker. So we're going to begin with what AI will mean for the dentist-patient relationship and how it essentially enhance your dental practice. Then we're going to move into future trends for AI. Then we're going to mold really well into essentially fortifying your practice and talk about something called cyber insurance. And finally, we'll conclude with an extremely interactive question and answer session. At this point, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. Gino Chaparella is a seasoned portfolio manager who has been an integral part of Cumberland Private Wealth Management since 2004. With a career spanning over 3 decades, he's amassed a wealth of experience and expertise in the financial industry. Throughout his journey, Gino has held many senior level positions, showcasing his dedication and leadership in the field. CDSPI and Cumberland entered into a strategic relationship which now spans in excess of 16 years. Cumberland Private Wealth has a team of investment portfolio advisors dedicated solely to the CDSPI advisory team and dental clients only. At this point, I'm going to ask Gino to turn his camera on, and we'll let him begin. Gino?
Thank you, Stephen. Welcome, everyone. I'm happy to be with you today, sharing some of the innovations that are occurring today in dentistry. There's been such a buildup in this area on the transformative impact that technology is having and will have on our economy, our careers, and our lives. But it hasn't been free of controversy, causing questions, fears, and misinformation. We want to break it down for you, and as the title implies, take the mystery out of this innovation. I'm excited to be sharing some key findings from a research report we commissioned that will help bring some perspective on how it's shaping our economy and the influence it's having on dentistry. So let's have a look at today's agenda. We'll start by reviewing the broader AI landscape and how it continues to evolve. We'll move into how the technology is impacting dentistry and on the horizon for your industry. And I'll end the formal presentation with Cumberland's market outlook for 2025 and discuss the opportunities we see ahead for the world outside of the US. And then I'll pass it on to Stephen, who will open it up to the audience for questions. So the potential global impact from AI is impressive. PricewaterhouseCoopers conducted a study and predicted AI can add almost $16 trillion to the global economy by 2030. AI will transform the way we live and work by driving efficiencies through automation. We can draw parallels to the 1990s tech boom when the global economy went through a very high period of productivity for some years, thanks to the emergence of the internet. But before we can go any further, let's define this phenomenon. So, as this slide asks, what is artificial intelligence, or AI, as it is widely known? It is the technology that enables machines to learn, think, talk, and make decisions like human beings. It even takes its inspiration from the human brain's neural network. These systems are designed to recognize patterns, process images, understand language, both spoken and written, and solve problems by mimicking aspects of human cognition. We'll take a look at the key technologies that help form AI and its capabilities on the next slide. AI makes machines smarter. It is an amalgamation of multiple technologies, each designed for a specific task. Or in more complex applications like a dental surgery, all these technologies are at work. Machine learning learns from data and patterns to make decisions independently. Examples would be your email filters that can block spam or phishing based on historical flagging patterns. Natural language processing, or NLP, can understand and respond to human language like Alexa or ChatGPT. Computer vision can recognize images like humans do. That's like the facial recognition on your smartphone. Autonomous sensors and technology that collects data and makes decisions without human input. That's a self-driving car. And AI-empowered robotics that can think, learn, and act on their own, like the robotic arms we see in car manufacturing plants. Now, that's the science of AI. Let's look at it from an investment opportunity on the next slide. And the opportunity is massive. The global growth of AI is predicted to go from 136 billion US dollars today to 827 billion US by 2030. That's a pretty impressive compound annual growth rate of 29%. I'd say that's more than a trend. AI is quickly becoming an essential tool to stay competitive. This growth trajectory is a result of AI's ability to evolve from a reactive technology based solely on human input to a self-aware technology capable of its own decision. Let's move on. AI has been around for some time. In fact, the very name artificial intelligence was coined in the 50s, but we'll start our evolution in the 80s. This is the era of the programmer. AI was simply a rules-based machine that could handle specific, repeatable tasks based on human input. It had no ability to learn or adapt. A good example of this would be IBM's Big Blue, the chess playing computer, if you recall. It could consider all possible moves and outcomes as defined in its program without the ability to adapt beyond those specific preset strategies. We move now into the 90s through to the 2020s, and computers are now forming limited memory. They can specialize in performing a single task based on the training it has received. It can learn, adapt, and improve its performance by recognizing new patterns from data and learning from its experiences. But it's still limited to its specific task and can't operate outside of it. An example would be a dental assistant robot that helps with tasks like sterilizing instruments, assisting during procedures, or analyzing dental x-rays. While it's highly effective in a dental setting, it can't perform unrelated activities like driving a car or diagnosing other medical conditions. The self-driving car is another example of this technology that is quickly expanding its range of capabilities. This is one of the exciting tech developments that is revolutionary through, though not yet ready for prime time. Today and through to the 2050s, artificial general intelligence, or AGI machines, are more like humans than ever before. These new machines are developing awareness, adaptability, and creativity. AGI has the capability to handle a wide range of tasks across different fields, reacting to new situations, using intuition or gut feel, if you can believe it. Unlike the rest of the technology that we just went through, it doesn't need separate systems for different applications. For example, a single AGI system is capable of driving a car, diagnosing diseases, solving complex mathematical problems, and engaging in creative tasks like songwriting or product design, all without needing retraining for each task. This tech is still in the speculative stages, mind you. At this point, some of it way, way out into the future. When you consider the evolution of I can't help but compare it to an experience. It's going through the same sort of growth in its evolution as humans. We have evolved as a result of our training, education, memory, experience, and emotional development. So that's the current outlook on AI and its impact on the global economy. Now let's have a look at AI in your world, in dentistry. And we'll go right to the next slide. AI in dentistry is rapidly growing at a compound annual growth rate of almost 28%, as you see on the slide. Additionally, it is fast becoming a compelling time saver. The chart highlights a dental assistant's estimated time saved with the introduction of AI technologies. That's 26% of a dental assistant's time that could be freed up by automation. That's a game changer. Think of how you can better utilize a dental assistant in your clinic, enhance your patient care. In this next slide, you see the adoption among dental practices across all main aspects of dental care. And it shows significant progress given it's only been 2 years since the technology has been made commercially available. Image analysis and diagnosis are the key areas, as you can see. And this is where dental practices have leveraged AI very effectively. So let's discuss a few ways where AI is helping to transform dentistry. In this next slide, you can see the biggest increases in accuracy of the diagnoses to ensure that the treatment is well planned and executed efficiently and with precision. Predictive analytics on this next slide is one of the most exciting advancements in general healthcare, and it's prevalent in dentistry. The ability to accurately identify in advance a potential disease using predictive analytics that can enable preventive actions that may save a tooth or maybe even a life. And in this slide, we can make the dentist visit less scary by using chatbots. They can answer questions before treatment and virtual reality simulations during the visit. And it said that chatbots alone have led to a 51% reduction in patient stress. Next slide. For those who do locums in remote areas, you understand very well how limited dental care accessibility leaves many without essential oral services. But teledentistry today can bridge the gap by offering remote consultations, early diagnoses, and preventive care, especially in underserved areas. Teledentistry uses digital communication tools like video calls and messaging and mobile apps to connect patients with dental professionals remotely. Moving on, the biggest impact AI has had on dentistry is efficiency. And that is true, by the way, of all industries. AI in dentistry can seamlessly automate administrative tasks such as scheduling, billing, patient records, and empower dentists to dedicate more time to critical patient care and advanced treatments. On the next slide, we'll recap here. We understand the trend. We understand the competitive landscape at this point. What's all of this cost? And here we can see the investment, the first stage of investment is attainable. It's really off-the-shelf applications which require less investment and can be used by for tasks like imaging analysis, teledentistry, scheduling, and billing. The next slide takes it a step further, and this is the second level that involves more customized tools costing $5,000 and up. These applications offer personalized solutions that enable broader use, such as customized treatment planning, predictive analytics, or early intervention and tailored diagnostics. And then finally, at the highest level, investment involves building AI models from scratch. These are used for advanced applications such as cancer detection, integrating genetic and dental data for predictive insights, and even robotic dental procedures. These development costs can range from 50,000 to over 500. So not only can AI increase your efficiency and productivity, but it can also improve your bottom line. While upfront costs can be significant, the return on investment can be very rewarding, according to some AI solution providers, such as Overjet, Vidya Health, who claim a 10 times average annual return on your investments. Moving on, like any industrial shift, there will be old jobs retired, only to be replaced by new jobs. AI's biggest contribution to your industry will be to fill the shortage gap. In the US alone, there is a $10,000 shortage of 10,000 shortage of dentists. AI is not here to replace you. But what it can do is bring efficiencies to your practice, to allow you to focus on serious procedures and position yourself for the shift taking place in overall. The new medicine is predictive and proactive, where early detection is the differentiator. And at this point, AI is so far away from being patient facing that your value lies in your ability to connect and empathize. Look at the survey on the next page and what patients are saying. AI will never replace human interaction as it lacks moral judgment, the ability to engage with patients on a personal level, and doesn't have the manual dexterity needed for certain procedures. And as we look ahead, we see emerging AI tools like artificial emotional intelligence, robotics, and smart dental implants that enable real-time data collection and patient personalization. This is the future of dentistry, an industry that is proactive using a data-driven healthcare approach. Now let's look at some of these tools individually. This slide highlights artificial emotional intelligence. It can monitor patient emotions in real time, identifying signs of anxiety and respond with calming cues, personalized communication, and tailored treatment suggestions. Some dental practices integrate AI-driven apps that offer guided meditation sessions, relaxation techniques, and soothing sounds during appointments. AI assesses the patient's emotional state through sensors or real-time feedback and suggests personalized exercises such as deep breathing, mindfulness, or visualization to help calm the patient before, during, and even after the treatment. So investments in AI-powered robots are paving the way for artificial emotional intelligence. Several companies have made significant progress, such as United We Care, which has demonstrated 85% accuracy in mood tracking and mental health screening, even outperforming psychologists. In 2024, the first fully automated dental procedure was completed. It is full robotic with zero human touch. This proprietary system aims to complete tasks like a crown replacement in just 15 minutes. That's down from the current method that requires 2 office visits or at least that are at least 1 hour each. And you guys know better than anybody. But how about robot-assisted procedures? This is already happening, by the way. And Yomi has been in the market for some time, assisting in dental implants. Some of you may have seen it if you go to US conventions. This slide is very interesting to me. Imagine you can put an implant with sensors that enable real-time data collection and patient personalization. These smart implants monitor the condition of the implant, surrounding tissues, and offer insights into early intervention and personalized care. This represents the future of proactive data-driven dental care. Even fillings are available with smart sensors. They feature antimicrobial and self-healing properties that can detect bacteria and release protective agents. These fillings could revolutionize cavity treatment by proactively maintaining oral health. So those are some of the ideas that are out there right now. Some are happening today, others are further down the road, but you can't deny the impact that AI is having everywhere in our lives. So I'll conclude the review of AI in dentistry. And I hope this helped those who are already on the path of proactive medicine and inspire others to investigate the opportunity. Again, this was a research we commissioned for CDSPI and dentists, and I've been happy to share some of the findings with you today. Now, on to the broader market. I'd like to take you through Cumberland's outlook for global markets. So let's quickly take a look at what we'll cover in the section in this next. Today, we have a cautiously optimistic outlook for global equities in 2025, and here's our rationale. We see a soft landing for the global economy, inflation is moderating, and most central banks are cutting rates. Reducing rates will act as a win for the global economy, corporate earnings, and might also lead to the revival of mergers and acquisitions. While we remain very positive on the United States, we also see opportunities outside of the US, and that's what we want to talk about today. But first, here's why we continue to have a favorable outlook for the US. The US has a dynamic and very steady economy led by a healthy US consumer. The rule of law and accounting standards are ones that we can trust. It has the high quality companies in the world that currently have an attractive earnings growth profile. And for all these reasons, we maintain a positive view on the US. And frankly, that's why we continue to have a large US weighting in our global stream. So let's take a look at the Mag 7 in this slide. They had a great 2024, followed off the back of a strong year in 2023. As you can see here, 6 of the 7 stocks generated a higher return than the S&P 500, with NVIDIA leading the charge with a staggering return of 171%. Collectively, these 7 stocks generated more than 50% of the return of the S&P 500. And that really explains the S&P 500 outsized return. In fact, if you strip out the Magnificent Seven, remaining 493 stocks in the S&P generated a return of 11.6% in 2024. It has to be said that, the stocks, we own them, all these stocks, but for Tesla, and continue to believe that the fundamentals remain very attractive and valuations look reasonable. So we're very comfortable as owners of these businesses. But we're not ostracizing Europe here. So that's what we'll take a look at. And although the markets in Europe have been weak, mostly on the back of the tariff threats proposed by Donald Trump, we're seeing some interesting opportunities throughout the Eurozone. It seems that everything you read claims that Europe is uninvestable and a part of the world that should be avoided by investors. Well, we disagree with this notion because there are good opportunities to be found in Europe. In fact, if you just exclude one stock, that being NVIDIA, Europe actually outperformed the S&P 500 from the bottom of the market in October 2022 through to the end of 2020. So it's certainly not a lost cause. So why is the narrative on Europe so negative? Well, there are a lot of reasons, and it's easy to understand why investors are so pessimistic. Energy costs are very high. There's political instability across many countries. There's a lack of innovation, and that's been something going on for a long time. The demographics are poor. People are aging, young people are leaving for work, and so the demographics are certainly not growing. And Germany is considered a lost cause, and the entire Eurozone is suffering from weakness in China, given its proximity to the country. So these are the reasons why there's such a negative outlook on Europe. We believe there are catalysts, however, and these catalysts could help narrow the discount of European markets versus the US. First, if Trump were to tone down his rhetoric on tariffs, we think this would go a long way to narrow the discount. And there's actually been some encouraging news yesterday that Trump paused tariffs for the next 30 days. Second, China could announce a large stimulus to address the malaise in its economy. This would act as a shot in the arm for Europe. And thirdly, a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine could act as a catalyst. And we've recently heard the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. So this is in the realm of possibilities. And finally, there's an election coming up in Germany this month, in fact, and there is speculation that major reforms could be announced to address the struggling economy. So from our perspective, yes, there are a number of catalysts out there that could materialize this year that could lead to a narrowing of the discount of European equities. So let's sum up our outlook. Overall, equity markets returns were positive in 2020, and we remain constructive in 2025. US, US markets remain resilient. Stock valuations are high, but with double-digit earnings growth in 2025 and in 2026 estimated, it's still attractive. The Canadian market is not expensive by historical standards, but as we know, it's been negatively affected by potential US tariffs and tougher economic backdrop. However, lower rates are bringing some earnings growth. Similarly, European markets are not expensive and could also improve with lower rates. Trump 2.0 appears supportive of the US economy at this time, and geopolitics exist, and fixed income investments are providing attractive real returns, though rates continue to fall. So, thank you for joining us. We hope that was informative. I'll pass it over to Stephen now so he can open it up and take it to the next part of our presentation.
Thank you, Gino. Very informative. So at this point in our webinar, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to our next speaker. Julie Berthiaume is an insurance advisor possessing the CAIB or CAIB designation. This is a nationally recognized professional designation and licensing equivalency that provides in-depth knowledge and understanding of all aspects of property and casualty insurance. Julie provides educational sessions on insurance and risk management strategies to dentists and dental students across Canada. Her extensive background in claims with 18 plus years of industry experience underpins her passion for ensuring that everyone has the protection they need. We're very fortunate to have Julie here today and on the CDSPI team. Julie, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Stephen, and welcome everyone. I'm glad you are joining us today. We are very excited because last year we did launch our CDSPI cyber insurance. We've had a lot of questions and requests for cyber insurance over the years because it is becoming a more and more looming risk. And now we have an excellent offering that can help protect you and your practice against cyber threats. So let's go through some of the features of the coverage. So as always, we are bringing you an insurance product with choice and provides convenient and high level of customer service at very competitive rates. We do offer this coverage through a third-party company called BFL, but at preferred pricing for our clients versus if you went to BFL yourself. The reason we offer it through a third-party company is to make sure the best experts are at your disposal. So I just want to touch base on some of the key benefits of our cyber insurance plan. So according to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, there have been over 150,000 reports of fraud in Canada, with over 600 million stolen since January 2023. So here I'm going to go through some of the key benefits of our cyber insurance, which offer you protection before, during, and after a cyber incident to help you mitigate the cost of cyber attacks and data breach. Some of these benefits include the following. So first of all, there is staff training, data restoration, legal representation, third-party notification, and for coverage liability. And also the coverage for the cost to pay a ransom and lost business income. Essentially, if there's a breach, you make one phone call and you have a full service response of experts at your immediate disposal to resolve the attack in the most efficient and effective manner to protect your patient and business records, as well as get your clinic back up and running. If you're interested in applying, you can do so on our website through our online portal. Just go to cdspi.com, hover over the insurance tab at the top, and click on cyber insurance. Or, of course, you're more than welcome to reach out to me or any of my colleagues, and we can certainly put you in touch. So you can see on the screen here some of the many benefits involved in cyber insurance. Now, depending on your practice revenue and the scope of coverage you're looking for, premiums can range anywhere between 440 and $3,600 a year, which is very competitive in the market. Okay, so just moving on, I am not obviously a cyber insurance expert, hence why we have partnered up with BFL. But I can certainly help you learn more about protecting your dental practice from cybercrime. We actually do have an education course. If you wanted to scan the QR code, you can learn more about the nuances of cybersecurity, common threats, and practical insights on how dentists can effectively protect themselves, hosted by CDSPI and guest speakers from BFL Canada and Beasley Canada, whom we do offer the coverage through. Or if you just want to watch without the certificate part, you're welcome to go to our YouTube channel and the video is posted there. Now, your financial wellness or your well being, this is not just about one thing. After all, once you finished your dental school and started working, you are not really going to be able to properly care for your patients until you first take care of yourself. And studies have shown that your personal wellness and success are directly related to your financial wellness. Now, financial wellness can include anything from budgeting, savings, investments, protecting your income and assets, planning for your goals, and having a backup plan when things don't go as planned. That's why CDSPI offers a holistic approach by offering everything a dentist needs to maintain their financial well being, from investments, insurance, financial planning, banking, tax and accounting, and our members assistance program. After all, your well being is dependent upon how all of these things work cohesively together. So if we just move on, I think that brings us towards the end of our presentation.
So at this point, I'm going to ask my panelists to turn their cameras back on. Thank you. And we'll start taking some questions. So Gino, I'm going to give you the first question here. So as it's written, AI and the impact that China's DeepSeek will have on its future. What do you and Cumberland see as your view at this time?
Thanks, Stephen. Great question and very topical, of course. But note that we're not hearing as much about DeepSeek we did in the last week. So it's kind of I would say it's a fluid issue. But for those not familiar with the emerging company from China making the news lately, DeepSeek is a new AI large language model, and it claims to be massively efficient with lower training and inference costs than the competitors. This has caused market concerns, as you probably are all well aware, and it's because the concern is based on the potential decreases in data center utilization and future demand. Our view, and we are inclined to push back on the market concerns, since DeepSeek's techniques are widely known and their claimed training costs are incomplete. There are a lot of questions about DeepSeek's pricing and potential subsidization, and that certainly warrants further investigation. We were on Microsoft's earning call last week, and they responded very positively on DeepSeek. They've said that they continue their spend on the development of AI, so they're not slowing down any of their capital expenditure. And DeepSeek is just another positive development that will drive efficiency up and costs down with a net benefit of company margins. That was almost a quote from that earnings call last week. So while there's a chance of excess capacity and slower spending impacting NVIDIA, for example, and data center companies, we think lower costs can drive broader demand and make the technology more attainable to smaller companies and ultimately the consumer. Everything we looked at today, for example, in dentistry, will benefit from this news by bringing down costs and allowing more integration and accessibility to more practices. So based on what we currently know, we're leaning toward continued investment in AI, expecting lower costs and increased AI usage. But again, as I said, the situation is, and we continue to monitor it and make any decisions we have to according to our portfolio.
Thanks, Gino. Switching gears, Julie, excuse me. Can you just talk about some of the prerequisites for cyber? How do I qualify?
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. So there are a few prerequisites that you do need to meet in order to be eligible for the cyber insurance. So first and foremost, you must be a resident of Canada who is a member of a provincial or territorial dental association. Unfortunately, CSBI cyber insurance is not available in Quebec. I'm so sorry. I'm battling a bit of a cold here. Okay, so some of the required factors. You must regularly back up your critical data to an offline location that would not be impacted by a cyber attack. You must use multi-factor authentication, and you do not allow remote access to your environment without a VPN. And lastly, you must regularly, at least annually, provide cybersecurity awareness training to your staff. Now, if you do not have all of these factors already in place, BFL can certainly help you figure that out and set that up if you do not already have an IT department that can help you with that. So those are kind of the criteria in order to get started. But like I said, if you don't have them, you can still reach out to us and we can help you get that all set up.
Thank you, Julie. So let's carry the ball a little bit further, Gino, again, from a malpractice and record keeping perspective. If you use AI as an aid in diagnostics, how do the courts view this if AI happens to get it wrong and you base your treatment based on AI?
Yeah, and so that as AI becomes smarter and smarter, that's a great question. One of the things that are creating concern from a compliance standpoint and certainly for duty of care is the fact that as we can become more and more reliant on the technology, and we lose our critical thinking skills. And so that is right now being considered right at the school level. You should see how the innovation that's coming through for training new dentists and existing dentists that go on. I think lawyers are going to play a big role, and it's how you are transparent in the technology, how you actually store your technology, and remember this. So I think this is the worry why some people think they're losing their jobs or AI is going to take over. It's far from that. This is your partner, your associate, somebody that you can feed off of, but you should they are in no way capable at this time to make those kinds of decisions for you. They're working alongside you. They can, you're looking at an X-ray, for example. You've got an AI robotic that is providing their input. At the end of the day, you're signing off. So I think that's the critical key, is to not get too dependent. Hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you, Gino. Julie, I think you can knock off a few of these. We're gonna ask you to put your insurance hat on. So the question very simply is, do you cover home and cottage insurance?
We do. So we offer it through a third-party company, just like we offer the cyber insurance through a third-party company, but you get it at preferred pricing by going through CDSBI. So if you're interested in that, let us know. Now, we offer both home and auto coverage across the country with a few key exceptions. So in BC, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan, we only offer home insurance since auto insurance is mandatory through the government. And in Quebec, unfortunately, we don't offer either. But anywhere else across the country, absolutely. But this is only within Canada for residential situations, not for commercial buildings, and not in the US.
Thank you. And as a follow-up on that, do you have condo insurance in the US?
No. Our coverage is strictly across Canada with the few key exceptions I just mentioned.
Thanks, Julie. Gino, I'm going to have you run the ball again here. This is an interesting question or a comment. Is AI a guide or another opinion?
Oh, great question. I would say it's both, and it's as integral as you want it to be, right? So, and remember, there are many different technologies that you can use. You can customize this, and it'll cost you more money today, but it you figure out what you would like it to do, and and it'll be designed to do that. So, I would say it's a little bit of both. um, Certainly a guide, and he's going to put up a link that we were going to try and do live here for you and show you what's happening in dental school. There are simulators there. You can take somebody's um, mouth and replicate it, put it in the simulator. Your student goes in and works on the specific problem, and if it's wrong, it just reboots and you do it over again, and you don't have to do it. You don't have to provide a real live person or those bobbleheads that I've seen in at school there. I think um, the evolution will tell, and it's really going to be as more and more dentists adapt the technology, they're going to know how they want to use it, and it will morph from there. Um, and a lot of the stuff that sounded sci-fi is that it's way out of into the future at this point too. What we're seeing is the efficiency stuff, the billing payments, the apps that can provide they actually have sensors that can detect your patient's stress level, and they get accustomed to your patients. So when they come in, they know who's coming in, they know the profile, and they can preempt any possible um, issues that may arise from that. So it's a new technology, and that's the exciting part.
Thanks, Gino. Julie?
Mhm.
So this looks like a cyber question here. I'm a small dental clinic. Does cyber really impact me? Is this something I should think about?
Um, sure, absolutely. Now, I know sometimes in the industry, everybody thinks that, the cyber criminals are just going to attack, the big box stores, the Costco's, the Walmarts, and so on. But truthfully speaking, that's not who they're targeting. They're targeting small businesses that have a lot of personal and confidential information. Needless to say, a dental clinic does, have a lot of personal medical and financial information about your patients on file. And these are the businesses that they're targeting. So nowadays, it's not so much will you suffer a cyber attack, but more when you will suffer it. So it is very important to make sure that you are protecting yourself, because if a cyber attack does occur to you as a small business, this could cripple you, and if not resolved properly, perhaps end your business. So small businesses are the ones that absolutely need to look at the cyber insurance.
Thank you. Gina, we'll go back to you on this one. And I know you touched on this a little bit in your presentation, but maybe you can do some bullet reviews. What are the current limitations of AI in dentistry, and how do you foresee these evolving in the years to come?
Yeah. Um, so this new technology is all about data gathering, and data sets are becoming the most important element of this, how it will evolve. So it really comes down to the quality of data, reliance on high quality, and diverse data sets. Because incomplete data will lead to inaccurate outcomes. So and regulatory hurdles. Again, as this becomes more and more prevalent in the day to day, you're going to have to seek approval, and approvals are going to have a slower process. It's going to delay AI tools and adoption in clinical practices. Today, the costs are high, and so it's a barrier for smaller practices. But DeepSeek is one of those game changers here that will make it more accessible. The challenges is difficulty integrating AI with existing dental practices and management systems that are already in place. So it's essentially growing pains, really. And as I said, one of the bigger ones that is becoming more and more discussed here, the over-reliance and the risk of that. Um, you know, um, you're not only losing potentially your critical thinking skills, but your manual skills come under question as well. And so continued training is part of this whole uh, phenomenon, if you will. And of course, the biggest one, and I mentioned it in one of the slides, is the lack of emotional intelligence. Significant ethical concerns come about with that. So it's not all simple and straightforward at this point, because well, we all know dental patient care really involves empathy and emotional support. So you got to improve your data sets. You've got to make sure that your AI is explainable and transparent. Faster approvals for sure, and of course cost reductions that will come from economies of scale. And this integration has to be seamless. People, there are dentists and professionals who have already spent a lot of money on systems that you've got to find a way to implement into the existing system and not just an overhaul.
Thank you. Julie, back to you. So we're coming on our 1 year anniversary for cyber. Maybe I know you touched on it, but maybe you can just review it again, like Gino had done on his other question, just sort of the end-to-end process, maybe how long it takes to bind a policy. So the crowd kind of gets the
Sure.
essence of it. Thank you.
So your first step is accessing the online portal on our website. You can create an account, input some, basic information about your practice, such as, revenue, whether you have those prerequisite eligibility requirements or not. That will get submitted to BFL. If they don't have all the information necessary, they will certainly reach back out to you. As to how long it takes from beginning to end, I mean, that can vary on the complexity of your practice or not. For example, if you have multiple clinics and they're all on the same network, that's a little bit easier than if you have multiple clinics all on different networks. We'd need to make sure that each and every clinic is set up to have all those eligibility requirements. So there isn't really an exact time frame, but obviously the earlier you can get started and make sure that you are upfront in providing all the information that is requested, will certainly expedite that. And again, if you have any concerns or questions, we are here and happy to help mitigate that. If you need any assistance in getting quotes or binding coverage, we can certainly touch base with our contacts at BFL and help make that process a little bit more seamless.
Thank you, Julie. Great segue. So if you want to continue the conversation with Julie, anyone at CDSPI on the insurance side or the investment side, will then connect yourselves to Gino and the team at Cumberland. I encourage you to reach out in one of two ways. We've got a direct phone number here, 1-800-561-9401, extension 6201. And we'll continue the conversation over the phone. If you prefer to email us, please do so at insurance@cdspi.com. Thank you again. This concludes our webinar, and I wish you a great evening. Good night, everyone.